Yeah. Thanks everyone for having us here. I want to talk about what we offer for application developers really to access public blockchain data on AWS. That's the primary focus of this session, independent of market turbulence or anything you hear in the news. There's a huge interest across industries to actually get access to this data. So myself, Oliver Steffmann, Principal Solutions Architect in New York, and Bhaskar will guide you through this today. So before we go into technical things, I mean, a lot of things I want to explain maybe in the next 2 minutes, what actually is available, what data is available in the public blockchains. And then you get some ideas also why customers are asking for this. So first of all, blockchain, I mean, yeah, you heard about it. It's a chain of blocks visualized at the bottom here. And then for you just to know, and a block has a certain size and the frequency when a block is created, there's a lot of additional data also besides the data elements that are provided in a blockchain like Bitcoin or Ethereum. And there's also metadata, who created the block at what time. So all those things are sort of relevant sometimes for researchers, also on trading desks that interface with those chains, or also Web3 developers when they develop applications. So keep in mind, immutable data, public blockchain data has a lot of metadata also that can be used for analytics. The main information you will find in blockchains like Bitcoin and Ethereum and also other chains is really transaction data around the tokens, the digital assets that are running on those public blockchains in this case. And this diagram visualized, for example, if I interface with, in this case, Bitcoin, I have a digital wallet. I can use an address, or a bank account, a number, basically a string for my wallet, and I can secure my wallet with a PIN or like a private key in this case. And everything I do is public on public blockchains. So this transaction, when I send it to my colleague Bhaskar now, 0.5 BTC, will be publicly visible on the blockchain. Not my name, not the ownership really, but you can see the signature of my bank account. You can see who did what at what time. So this is very valuable to figure out adoption. Is this blockchain growing in adoption? Researchers are interested to tracing transactions. There's a lot of different use cases in the Web3 space, and we want to make you help you to get to this data. If we move on to the other chains also, like Ethereum, there's also smart contract data available. This is really also available, the source code of smart contracts on the public blockchain, in this case, defined in Solidity. And then smart contracts, a lot of companies developing solutions. It could be in the art space, real estate space, but really using smart contracts in a new way for new use cases. And if you want to tap into this data, you need to have access to public blockchain data. And then specifically, 2 use cases on this Ethereum blockchain is a very from a lot of interest, especially on the financial side also. If you talk about fungible tokens, there's a standard ERC20 defining, for example, stable coins, like those are fiat, like digital version of fiat currencies. You will also get transaction history. You get who moved what type of token at what time to another address in this case. So you have full visibility about also adoption, growth, supply, etc. And if you think about the retail space and the art space, there's a lot of NFTs, non-fungible tokens also created. And it provides completely new use cases to figure out who owned this Gucci bag, digitally signed, who owned this art, who was the previous owners, and also provides you a link actually to like the outside off-chain reference where maybe the picture is actually stored. So this is not on the blockchain, but you get a reference to the picture that represents this NFT. So you see, this gives you an idea why customers are asking about this. And then I want to say that it's quite difficult actually technically to get this data at scale. It's decades worth of data, terabytes of data that is consisting on those two chains. And AWS, myself, and Bhaskar want to walk you through how to access this in your applications. So Bhaskar, do you want to take over, bitte?
Okay. So as Oli talked about, right? So this is and he Oli covered most of the challenges with blockchain data and how we can do analysis and what kind of use case can be done on those data and the amount of data, how it is stored, how it is bound between the nodes. It is the case of doing analytics and doing identifying real value or getting real value out of the data is a challenging part. So one of the things we started doing is how we can make this data available on AWS and how we can do it in open format. So it can be consumed by various, including developers or third parties, whoever wants to do analysis and consumes that data and produce research items, products, or any other use cases they have. So we kind of like worked backward and we started thinking about what we want to do first. As a developer, what I want to see, what is going on. At that time when we started, stablecoin was the big thing. So we said, okay, we'll do some little analysis on stablecoin. We started there and we came back and immediately we realized that, we cannot do that kind of analysis unless this data is available in a open format, which we can consume very easily with various AWS services. So first task is we created the data set itself. So what you are seeing on screen is the architecture, how we did it. And we currently have Bitcoin and Ethereum data as a open data. We recently published it a couple of weeks back on our open data platform, which is in open format. It's a Parquet format. So consumption wise, it is not tied to any proprietary format out there. We used most of AWS services and we also use our managed Ethereum node for live feed as well. So in addition to historical data that we are producing in that open data, we also listens to those chains and we listens to the new blocks that are coming in and we produce that data. So it is a real time plus historical data as part of that format that is available for anyone to consume. So then once we had that, we started. So production was one of the tasks that we needed to do, but the important one is the consumer task, right? The way the decentralized economy is going, and as we go through a lot of different use cases, from crypto to digital asset to NFTs, artist, fun, some of the fun use cases, some of the real industry use cases on retail and banking, and you can go all the way to healthcare and any use case that touches the humanity in that case for the economy part of it. But the consumer side, now you can use this data that was produced, and this is the architecture of the analytics framework that we have, that you can easily bring the data in, as part of your AWS account, use the open data and bring in third-party data, and you can do various things, create your own data lake and use different various AWS services, to start getting some real world analytics out of this data. And you can do it in different ways, right? So you can produce your data lake, you can directly query S3 using Athena and Redshift. We have Glue catalog, and we have the architecture is a one-click button as well. So you can click button and you can produce this in your AWS account, and you have all these things available to you to start inquiring on that data, right? You can write your own ETL if you're merging some third-party market data for pricing or any other areas, and then you can do that analysis as part of that. Can be consumed by application developers, researchers, data scientists, business analysts, Web3 developers, as we thought, and that is one of the areas that is creating a lot of buzz right now on the analytics of this data. So let's start with a example query. Oli, you are seeing query number 1. I just want to make sure I'm.
Yes, looks good.
Okay. Yeah. So just to start with something fun, right? How we can do a fun example of what block was. There it is to calculate the transaction volume, what you are doing, how you can just go to Athena and directly carry S3. That was one of the use case. You can just have a simple query, look at what data it is there and how it looks and what kind of blocks and number of blocks or number of transactions that are there, that you can walk through those. You can also do complex query, like Ethereum based transaction. So what are the largest stablecoin transactions are occurred, right? Transaction for Ethereum is captured in something called token transfer. And each stablecoin has a unique token transfer. So you can use, this is the example using Redshift. Last one was example using Amazon Athena, but it is the same data set that you're working with on your data lake to get the results. And finally, you can also do, that is something that real analytics would, you will do is kind of do volume kind of analysis on transactions, token transfers, contracts, things like that. And you can merge the historical price data with the data of database we have, and you can produce some of real world analytics around how the volume is flowing, how the data is flowing, or even assets are flowing within the contract as going from where to where. So you can merge and do a lot of complex queries part of this data processing as well. So just to conclude on the consumer side, there are various use cases that you can do. This was just some examples of how you can consume using different AWS services. But going further, you can even think about how it can used in financial markets like fraud analysis, compliances kind of thing, and go to other industry like gaming and how they are track the NFTs that Oli talked about to transfer the NFTs in the players that are doing the NFT, and same with the artist and NFT on the owner side, how the assets can be tracked and utilize the analytics at that part. So I think that's what we have. And there are further readings that we have. We have published a blog post on that. You guys can go and you can produce using that blog post the complete architecture that we have shared here from producer and consumer side both as well. And we are also working on the next phase of this, where we are trying to work on the digital assets and how it can go into financial industry. So those are some other blogs will be coming out in the next couple of months. Thank you.